Welcome to WYCD Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do. How is everyone doing tonight? Tinkerbell, good to see you. The Anti-Corporatist, hello. Wicked Foxy Dragon, hello. Looney Tunes 9000, delighted to see you. I read your IMs on MR chat today. Thank you. And I almost cried. I will never be forgotten. Never ever, sir. I think I saw Rex. I was talking to Rex Trek. Rex Trek, hello. Good to see you. It's good to see all y'all. My dogs are goth. Hello. So if in case any of you are eagle-eyed, I have an effed up eye. This is what happens when you put your face real close to babies, and I mean, you suffer the consequences, but we'll keep on keeping on. Hey, gang, I got some real depressing stuff to talk about, but I figure you guys have been depressed enough regarding Israel and the horror currently happening there. It will continue to happen. A story where there are no heroes, only villains and victims. It sucks, but nonetheless, we have to talk about it. So I mean, there's no way to keep it light, but we'll keep it succinct. Let's talk about what is going on in Israel. I will give you my best understanding of the situation. Well, for years and years, the left denounced Netanyahu and the Israeli treatment of Palestine, and people on the left were doing that for good reason. Because when you treat a population like prisoners, inevitably, well, let me put it like this: when you give a population no legal recourse for bettering their lives, and their lives are terrible, inevitably we know what happens, and it just happened. We had a horrifying terrorist attack. It was like a school shooting, which we're familiar with in the United States, only on a mass scale. There was just people walking through a concert, slaughtering civilians. They cornered them in shelters, ironically, and threw grenades in there and fired indiscriminately, and so on and so forth. All the horror you know about. This is what I would like you to bear in mind when you talk with just about everybody who is not on the far left about this. Because everybody who is not on the far left will have no real understanding of what's happening, or why it's happening, or what the further danger is. They will only know that people get very sensitive and very angry, very emotional when you discuss the situation at all, or especially when you suggest that we should not participate in Israel's counterattack, because they don't realize that Israel is not counterattacking Hamas. Israel is counterattacking Palestinians. And as of today, 2,000 U.S. Marines, it appears, are going to be assisting them. That's unfortunate. In my opinion, modern terrorist attacks have two phases. Phase one is the initial strike against the targeted country. During that initial strike, you generally understand how it goes. An unsuspecting population gets a vicious sucker punch that is lethal, with ridiculously high numbers of people dying. That's the very nature of what a terrorist does. We often don't talk about the second part of the terrorist attack. And I say this is part of the terrorist attack because I believe it's intended by the terrorists. I believe Hamas intended for the consequences that they're about to endure. The second part is that the right wingers of the targeted nation make things worse and get more of their own side killed. And they create future terrorists. The second part is that let's work this again from the top. The first part is the conservative psychos of one nation or one group of peoples, the very worst of them, get together and attack an innocent population. And then the right-wing psychos from the targeted population help those initial terrorists by attacking the population that the terrorists are said to have come from. Now, in this case, it appears to be accurate. Yes, indeed. Hamas does seem to be from that general region. But it's important to view it as the same problem. The 20-year war that the United States endured was as a result of the 9/11 attack. That was the cause for war. I think they call it what? Casus belli. I don't speak old-timey talk, but that was the cause for war that we used. And as a result, after the thousands that we lost in the initial attack, we lost an additional 7,000 service members and contractors, and an unknown number of civilians that we personally killed. What does this do? Well, it not only results in more death, more destruction. It not only results in more horror for the targeted country over an extended period of time. It also serves as a recruiting tool. So right now, Israel is treating Palestinians in a way that is going to ensure that Hamas has ranks that are full to bursting for an indefinite amount of time. This will continue. It will get worse. It will go on. So Hamas played this very well. If their goal was to be evil, yep, they did it. Good job. Netanyahu appears to be playing the role of George Bush very well. Hopefully, though, this silver lining that I spy is true, because the Israeli people aren't falling for it. I think they have the benefit of having seen the U.S.'s mistakes. I think they understand that the rhetoric coming out of their extremist far-right government is the sort of thing you would expect to hear from Hamas. There is that piece of hope to show you, really, how long the left has been begging the world to understand the situation in Israel. I'd like to show you a little bit of Left Reckoning that played the other day, because they played some Christopher Hitchens and had some interesting thoughts.
I wanted to play a little clip that I came across a moment ago. As people know, and we all know, we've done a lot on him, particularly his horrifying right-wing turn later in life. But as people know, myself and Matt and Ben all used to be big fans of Christopher Hitchens before his right-wing turn. And I'm not playing these in any way to kind of sanitize his image, but one thing about him is he was a very effective communicator, and maybe somebody watching this later might be swayed by it, because one thing that's interesting about Christopher Hitchens is the people who've ended up holding his legacy tend to be more on the right, for sure, right? And this kind of like new atheist movement that is gung ho of supporting Israel in a way that's sort of bizarre to me. But we have some vintage Christopher Hitchens here for y'all, talking about Israel and Palestine in a way that I think might shock some people who only consider Hitchens to be a kind of neocon. Um, so let's just play a little bit of this as a reminder of somebody who was saying these things on American, television, on C-SPAN in particular. That would still even get you in a lot of trouble for saying, and Hitchens is right in most of these.
Good morning. Great. Like your type of argument. You basically have intellectual discussion instead of a screaming argument. I'm a libertarian. I'm basically on the opposite side of the spectrum as you. But I wonder if you could clarify a couple things for me. I believe Palestine was the entire area covering Israel and Jordan. I wonder if you could tell me at what point the Palestinians went to Jordan, and I realized they were kicked out when they blew up some passenger jets or something. And are you familiar with that?
Yes, I think more than you are, by the sound of it. I'm not sure. I don't. Well, go ahead.
Basically revolved around the Palestinians that were from Israel. I don't understand if there's 22 Arab states, why they have to take over Israel.
Uh-huh. Well, there are 49 American states. If someone told you couldn't, apart from the one you're sitting in, if someone told you, actually, we would rather have your bit of Los Angeles for ourselves, from now on, this will only be, you can only be a landholder or a householder here if you profess the, let's say, Muslim or Buddhist faith. Otherwise, get out. This bit's ours. You're happy to go to Colorado on that basis? I don't think so, and I think if you think about it, you wouldn't insult anyone else by treating them, their society or their country as disposable as that. The Palestinians do not feel that God gave the land to someone else and they therefore have to be flung out. And I completely agree with them. They've every right to resist that ridiculous proposal.
Cape Cod, Massachusetts.
So we'll get to this second one in
Oh, it seems I've, yeah, there we go. That's all I wanted to show you from that. Why? So you understand what you need to understand. This whole thing can be very confusing. Israel, Palestine, the Middle East, yada, yada. If you live in the United States, you live in a country which has gone out of its way to keep you ignorant about these matters. I do a political show just about every day, except for those days I'm lazy, which is to say I do a political show every other day. And, it took me a good long time to fully understand why, not why Israel was doing what it was doing, but why Hamas was doing what it was doing. And it's easier when you look at it the way Hitchens just did. Translate it to a context you are familiar with, and perhaps more importantly, understand what is happening until you are at a point where you can translate it to a context that whoever you need to sway is familiar with. When you look at it like U.S. states, for example, suddenly it's not terribly hard to put it all together. The first thing you should address when talking about this is, what should Israel do? You don't have to be a military expert, but I think it's pretty obvious that attacking civilians, that giving civilians 24 hours to vacate while cutting off their electricity and then just shelling the area, that's not acceptable. They've killed Americans, by the way. Israelis have killed Americans thus far. with their just indiscriminate bombing, shelling, and yada yada. What should they do? They should go after Hamas. Hamas has declared war in the most despicable way. But we also, this is where we will likely differ from the vast majority of the world. Netanyahu, like Bush before him, is using this as an excuse to do something he wanted to do anyway, that is despicable, and that he could not have gotten away with doing without an excuse. So what they should not do is attack the Palestinian people. When you hold a people accountable for the actions of their government in a war sense, that's a crime. That is like an actual war crime, and that is what Israel is doing. That is what Israeli representatives have said they intend to do, and they have expressed it pretty frankly. They've said, these people could have gotten rid of Hamas if they wanted. They couldn't have. But that is also, I will point out, exactly what Hamas did. Why did they attack a concert full of people? Clearly, those weren't the people making decisions. Well, because they hold all of the Israeli people responsible for the actions of their government. So if Hamas was wrong first, does that mean Israel has permission to be wrong on a larger scale? No. So Israel must go after Hamas. I would recommend they do so in a way like the U.S. eventually did with bin Laden. Remember, under Obama, we sent in a small team after using our intelligence operation to ferret him out. Found out he was hiding out in Pakistan. And then we got him. Could have spared 7,000 lives on the U.S. side and an unknown number of lives from the Middle East. And I mean genuinely, because we went to multiple countries to kill. Could have done all that if we would have started that way. Good news. Israel has arguably the best intelligence service on planet Earth. So, find the leaders of Hamas and kill them. I'd prefer they arrest them, but okay. Find the leaders, get the leaders. Do not attack civilians, which is what they are doing. I would recommend you write your representatives and ask them the following. Tell your representatives that you do not want to see the U.S. supporting Israel making the same mistakes we did in 2003. The assault on the Palestinian people is not justified, and we should not support it. They won't listen. They just won't. But I recommend you do it anyway. Because you will see a news report soon talking about dead Palestinian kids. When that happens, the weight that you feel will be directly proportional to how much you tried to stop it from happening. Let's see what the Wicked community has to say. Donald James. Somebody replied to me saying that Israel was secular from the beginning and religion didn't start this. Oh, wow. Environmental Coffee House. Well said, Jake. Well, thank you so much, and good to see you, by the way. Whoa. Looney Tunes. You got Irene of No Comment Chick to come to the letter hack. Well done. Well done. Environmental Coffee House, Left Past 10 is on Wednesday night live at 10 p.m. Eastern. I'm on my channel tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern like usual. Tuesdays and Fridays for me. Well, excellent. Excellent. BCat and K. To retaliate against Gaza for the actions of Hamas is like retaliating on the South because of the KKK. That is exactly correct. And it is unfair. It sucks that we live in a world where terrorists can attack and then go hide amongst the population, and we don't have a ready answer for that. We should genuinely be working, in my personal opinion, with other countries to make an effective world police force. Literally an effective anti-terrorist task force, where if member nations agree that task force has authority to come in and go get Terrys. I would like to see that. We are unfortunately not there, and your analogy is exactly correct, I think. It is just like if we and Rex Trek agrees. It's just like if we attacked the entire South for the actions of the KKK. Mars Falcon, ethno-states are ethno-states. Nationalism is the beating heart of an ethno-state. No religion required for treating impure residents as subhuman. 100%. Donald James X, what can we do then? Maybe elect a pro-Palestine POTUS? No, really, what is the answer? Link in the description. Just tell your representatives that you do not want them to support an invasion of Gaza. It's going to be a sad moment almost no matter what we do. But that is what we can do. The anti-corporatist Jake, if there was truly a thing like that, they'd deem us terrorists and come after us, LMAO. I do. Elaine Sharp, good to see you. Good evening, everyone. Anti-corporatist. I disagree. I think if there was a truly international anti-terrorist task force, and bear in mind this is from a man that cannot say the phrase anti-terrorist task force without slowing down significantly. But I think if such a thing existed, it would by definition require crimes to cross borders for them to be active. Rex Trek, isn't it pretty much a done deal at this point? Guaranteed death. Yes, it is. Pretty much. Yes. But that said, we can affect how bad it gets and how quickly the U.S. pulls back. And by talking to your representatives, and understand this about your representatives, they really are just regular folks. If somebody came up to you right now and grabbed you by the shoulders and said, who is the leader of Hamas? Could you answer the question? I'd have to Google it. Don't feel bad. If they asked you who is the leader of Israel, could you answer that? If you had to answer detailed questions about the political structures of these things that we're being asked because we have no choice to weigh in on, I imagine it would be hard for you. Well, think about your representatives. Think about your senators and your House members. They're just like, they literally are drawn from you and me. They don't know. They just don't. They have a woeful lack of understanding. All they know is what the party line is. If they aren't told by their constituents what opinions are out there, all they get is an email with what the party talking points are, and they will stick to those. Not out of loyalty to the party, but just because they don't want to look dumb in front of cameras. For a lot of them, they might be getting this feeling when they read these things, like something's off. Give them the words to say by writing them and telling them your honest feelings. Give them the belief that they will actually have some support at home. Some of them know a little bit about this stuff and might be anxious to not support a full-on engagement in an extended massacre of civilians. Give them the words. And you do that by writing them. Looney Tunes 9000. Well, not all the senators, because you want to forget about the Republican senators. Yeah. But listen, there's a chance that any one of these senators might have a reason, might be 99% of the way to saying, let's hold back some of that support. And give them that 1%. Gulf Coast grit. There were a few other factors, but the rain did not help. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed the context. Wireless Mike, good to see you. Mike, or the anti-corporatist, says, as far as I can't figure that out. I'm in the gerrymandered Republican district in blue as Illinois. Illinois, shaking my head. I don't read so good. Environmental Coffee House. You know what? We might just be skipping. Environmental Coffee House. Hungary is worse, but in Poland, the young people are speaking. They want freedom. They want abortion rights and women's rights and LGBTQ rights. Well, hell yes. Go Poland. I'm really not a fan of the Polish government right now, so good. I needed that. Thank you. Tell you what, folks, let's liven things up just a itty bitty bit. I think we've earned that. Because as rough as it is overseas right now, we have been given a political gift at home. And I think we should enjoy it. We can affect this as well, and we should try. But most of all, I would just say, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, enjoy yourselves, because the Republicans look foolish. And thus I am happy. Oh, yeah. So the absolute best that Republicans could come up with in the House to be their main person, their top dog in the House, I can't think of other euphemisms, was Jim Jordan, looks like. They had either the guy that said he was like a Klan leader, or a guy that just willingly compared himself to a Klan leader, or a guy who is known to have covered up the sexual abuse of student athletes that he was in charge of. Conveniently, this guy is named Jim Jordan. Tomorrow, there's going to be a vote. Tonight, what I recommend you do is write some emails. Find the contact pages of the folks you're about to hear about, and write some emails. Here's David Feldman.
And how to make them bend. I'm going to read you, if you want to do your civic duty, I'm going to give you the names of these 18 vulnerable Republican members of Congress who you might want to give a call to or email and tell them, and you got to do it right now because the vote is scheduled probably for maybe Tuesday at noon, possibly.
Correct. So sometime tomorrow morning, right before the vote, just to see if you can fuck with them a little bit. Talk to any of those folks. You'll see a lot of folks from California on there, a lot of folks from New York as well. Give them a call. Tell them you would rather they not vote. Or they vote for Hakeem Jaffries. You would rather they do either of those things than to vote for Jim Jordan and further embarrass the United States. Thank you, David Feldman, for putting that together. This is likely. No. Let's try this again. This is unlikely to be the moment the party, the new Democratic Party forms. But this is the first real opportunity for it that I've seen. Michelle Steele, Tom Keene, Nick LaLota, John Duarte, basically everybody up there but George Santos is worth bothering over this. Because they are, that's 18 people, 10 of which we need to get to just not show up. Go take a Lithuanian snow day. Oh, you're going to have the flu tomorrow. You have the flu in a little bit. Everybody has the flu. Oh, well. What happens if they don't show up? Hakeem Jaffries becomes Speaker of the House. Because Democrats actually have their together. Why don't we want Jim Jordan to be Speaker of the House? Let us let David Feldman break that down.
Wednesday at noon. It could be Tuesday at noon. I'm going to read the names of these 18 Republican members of Congress who are getting thumb screws applied to them right now to vote for Jim Jordan. Call them, send them an email, tell them you would not vote for them. You will withhold donations if they vote for Jordan as Speaker. Let them know that under no conditions will you accept them voting for Jim Jordan. Their names are David Schweikert, Arizona, Tom Keene from New Jersey, Juan Ciscomani from Arizona, Nick LaLota from New York, John Duarte, California, George Santos, I'll have more about him, David Valadeo in California, Anthony D'Esposito in New York, Mike Garcia, California, Mike Lawler, New York, Michelle Steele, California. A lot of people from New York and California in purple districts. Brandon Williams, New York. Don Bacon in Nebraska. Lori Chavez DeRemer, Oregon. Jen Kiggins, Virginia. Brian Fitzpatrick, Pennsylvania. Young Kim, California. Mark Molinaro, New York. A lot of people in purple districts from California and New York, and they are getting pressured not to vote, to vote for Jim Jordan for Speaker. And I know a lot of Democrats think, well, Jordan as Speaker will be good for the Democrats. Well, these are the same fools who thought Trump winning in 2016 would be good for the Democrats.
He's right on both counts. I didn't think Trump winning would be good for the Democrats, but I did think Trump running would be good for the Democrats. And I do think that Jim Jordan being Speaker will be good for the Democrats. I just think it'll be worse. I just think it'll be worse for the United States. I mean, you understand the logic there? Like, it will be yet another opportunity to show that there is nothing but fools in the Republican Party. But that said, break it down, David. Why is it worse for America?
Within a hair on January 6th of Trump refusing to leave office. Sometimes we forget how evil these people are. So call these members of Congress immediately. Call 1, call 18. Email them. Google their names. Their phone numbers and emails are easy to discover. It's time for our little green bay sweep. Let's just flood the zone with phone calls. Members of Congress are due back in Washington later this afternoon. They will meet this evening to go over the rules for Tuesday's noon vote for Speaker. That's the word. They're going to take Jordan to the floor on Tuesday. And so call them now. Jordan has powerful people behind him, Kevin McCarthy and Donald Trump. And this is a party that runs on fear of losing power and fear of being hurt physically or fear of being exposed, having some of their secrets revealed. And this is not an exaggeration. I've mentioned this on the show countless times. These Congress people are being threatened physically threatened. You know, Donald Trump took office in 2017. I've gone over this. By 2019, moderate Republicans headed for the doors, and when asked why they were leaving Washington, in private, all these moderate Republicans said they feared for their own physical safety.
The Republican Party is a criminal organization. I think we should all get comfortable with saying that over and over and over and over again, because the world needs to understand that is true. The Republican Party is a criminal organization. They blackmail each other. They threaten each other. They blackmail us. They threaten us. They are the reason we have school shootings. They lie about those and keep them going in order to keep taking bribes. They are the reason, largely, that we have global warming. They are the reason we have gone to war nearly every time we have gone to war, including the Civil War. They are a criminal organization, and enough is enough. We should be very upfront about that. Keep it going, brother.
So call these members of Congress. There are 3 other Republicans who, according to The Guardian this morning, they are hard-nosed on Jordan. They refuse to vote for Jordan. So they say.
So it's not impossible that we can get these people to either just vote for Hakeem Jaffries or, more realistically, because, they are cowards, just not show up. Tomorrow, from that list, there will be people who are wondering. The day of the vote, they're going to be imagining, do I want to go and get embarrassed again in front of all these cameras? Or do I have an excuse to stay home? Is there something I can tell myself to let me just stay home and not be a part of this and forget my life for a little bit with this gang I signed up for? You can be their excuse. If you happen to be one of their constituents, perfect. But regardless, talk to your representative. I put a link in the description for contacting your representatives. Contact yours and make damn sure that they are not going to vote for Jim Jordan. Or at the very least, make damn sure that they know you do not want them to vote for Jim Jordan. Be somebody's excuse to do the decent thing. Let's see what y'all have to say. Mars Falcon. Fascism likes their goon squads. Yes. Tinkerbell, like the stream if you haven't already. Absolutely. Please do, and thank you very much for saying that. Tinkerbell, Jeffries ending up as speaker would be the funniest thing that could happen out of this, to be honest. Yes. Yes. And honestly, it would be the best thing for Republicans if they could just lie low. Sacrifice a few of their own, Mars Falcon, Mussolini had his black shirts, Hitler had his brown shirts, and we got our red hats. 1-to-1 examples, identical symmetry, not hyperbole. This is fascism. And I'm with BCat and K on this, 100% Mars Falcon. You nailed it. The anti-corporatist, sweet, got a letter from the lawyers. Sorry, I'm having to sue my old company for bad-mouthing me. Yikes. Well, anti-corporatist, you are in large part the subject of our next segment. I'm looking forward to that. Environmental Coffee House, coming up in a moment. Environmental Coffee House. Twitter X has been going a bit nuts today with people outing baby Republicans who are against Jim Jordan, but who might vote for him. Good. Let them out each other. Ooh. Okay. Well, let's talk about this next bit. I want to just talk about what we're all going to do. I think by now, most of y'all in the Wicked Senate, most of you who are regulars, have a general sense of what a standard what you can do looks like. Most often, it involves contacting your representatives or just contacting the appropriate authorities, be they FBI, etc., and giving your opinion. And our collective opinions end up pressuring these people. Y'all know that there is a standing offer that I have for all of you, because you're all good people. And that offer is this: if you start your own show and you want to, wet your beak a little bit, you want to make it financially worth your while, we will, as a community, give you the content and the views necessary to get you to that point. Here's why we're doing it. We did a little test in September to see, first of all, if we are even capable of doing this. And yes, we are. We bumped up Rebecca Azor's channel like lickety split. Took me many months to get to the point of monetizing. And I think she's there now, or at least she's very close. And that's just because a lot of us chose to make it happen. Here's the pattern we should all be following. First of all, let me be clear. I'm not expecting you all to start channels. We also need an audience. we just need that. But what we should be doing leading into 2024 is building our political power as much as possible. We need to counteract the billionaires who will fund right-wing psychos to lie to your gullible uncle, auntie, which means we're going to need a lot of voices. What I would recommend you do is make content if you feel like it, if you feel so inspired, and attempt to have a niche. Attempt to have something you do that nobody else does. A wise man once told me, if you want to get rich, be the first or be the best at something. And so I work very hard to be the first at things. Try that. And if you have a niche that you fill, or speak of the fella, anti-corporatist, I think you just naturally do. I think you are set up to be golden. But if you have a way you can appeal to a broader audience and you bring them into leftist politics, just never forget to make one thing true of all the stuff we put out there. Remember that once upon a time you came from the wicked community, and tell people what they can do. When you talk about whatever it is you talk about, add on that last little bit at the end. Just that last little bit. So that whatever percentage of your audience that you end up accumulating has something they can do with that energy, something they can do with that feeling that you made them feel, other than sit with it. I think that's the next type of show that needs to be out there. And I think if we are going to be effective communicators, and if we are going to make 2024 the year we finally get rid of the Republican Party, it is going to be because a group of many people, of whom it will be difficult to name a specific individual, a group of many people shared with each other and shared with the general public, what is going on and what can be done about it. Not a giant channel announcement. I'm just saying, let me know if y'all want to be in front of the camera. It has been the great pleasure of my career to build up young talent and send them off onto greater things. I intend to do the same. I shouldn't even say young talent, new talent. And you will have your old pal Jake helping you. Absolutely. And all I ask in return is not payment. It's not even I don't even ask you to remember me when you make it big. I just ask that as part of your show, whoever starts doing things, when you talk about things of consequence, make sure that you also tell your audience what they can do about it. I hope y'all will, and I more to the point, hope all of you at some point get a little something out of this. Environmental Coffee House, 7 years, and I've never monetized because I've been railing against the system. But if they're going to show ads to make money off of me, I might as well do it. Yeah, I agree. The anti-corporatist, I'll have you on, Jake. Oh, please do. I can't wait, man. The anti-corporatist, my cool uncle's crazy girlfriend. Boy. Yeah, Sandy, I'm very much of that belief as well. Also, I'm fine with ads. I love the way YouTube set this up to monetize thing. I don't think we should exist in a system where you got to dance for your food and healthcare. But we are in that system. And as long as we are, the idea that ads can play and I have no idea what they are, well, that's perfect for this. That's just perfect for this. And yeah, let's bleed this piggy. I want to take as much of YouTube's money as I can. Oh yeah. So yeah, I think it's absolutely fine. Sell ad spaces. And one last thing. Was it Roller Dragon? It was. Roller Dragon, if you're out there, if you sent me the email about the production gig, send it again because I didn't see it. All right, y'all. I'm going to go put in eye drops. By God. This kid. First time we met. All right, let's talk about this kid. First of all, she didn't finish baking. She broke out of the womb early to give her sister or to give my sister a hell of a time. And then upon meeting her uncle, she gets me like a Mortal Kombat character with a finisher. And whatever was under her fingernails is now in my eyelid. The Hellraiser already, man. I think I love her. All right. Thank you all for joining me. This has been WYCD Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do. I'll see you tomorrow for a 2 for Tuesday, and then Wednesday, Andy. It's happening. Left past 10. I can't wait. Oh, my name's Jake.